When most people shop for a center console, they chase the same big names, the glossy brochure boats, the ones that dominate the docks and YouTube thumbnails. But in this video, we're skipping the usual suspects and focusing on boats that are underrated for a reason. Not because they're cheap, not because they're underbuilt, but because they're misunderstood, overlooked, or simply hiding in plain sight, often known only to serious captains who care more about function than flash. We also looked at these boats through a very specific lens. What makes a center console perfect for men over 60? That means stability at rest, easy boarding, walkable decks without trip hazards, simple and reliable layouts, and hulls that don't punish your knees and back after a long day. If a boat looks good but beats you up, it didn't make the list. So whether you're downsizing, simplifying, or just want a platform that works with you, not against you, these are 10 center consoles that quietly deliver where it matters most. You won't find many boats like the Privateer Roamer 2 on YouTube or boat show brochures. But ask a Carolina commercial fisherman or a charter captain who's been doing this for decades, and chances are they've either owned one or wish they hadn't sold it. Built in North Carolina, the Roamer 2 is the high gunnel version of Privateer's classic 24-foot hull, a design that's earned its reputation not through marketing, but through miles at sea. At 24 feet 2 inches, it strikes the sweet spot between offshore capability and easy handling. It's trailerable, solo dockable, and doesn't require a crew to enjoy. What makes it underrated? Simplicity and stability. The modified V hull with an extra-wide beam gives the Roamer a planted, predictable feel in open water, but where it really shines is at rest. Whether you're drifting baits or sitting on anchor, the boat barely rolls. For men over 60, that means less fatigue, less bracing, and more confidence moving around. The layout is straightforward. Full transom with bracket-mounted engines, spacious cockpit, wide gunnels, and no wasted space. There's no fluff, just oversized hardware, a clean console, and real working room. It's the kind of boat where everything is where you'd put it yourself. This isn't a boat built to impress a crowd. It's built to serve its owner. Trip after trip, tide after tide. If you've had your fill of trendy brands and over-designed hulls, the Roamer 2 reminds you why simple, well-executed boats never go out of style. Shearline 24 center console isn't a production boat you'll find stacked in a dealership lot. It's something more rare, a hand-built, cold-molded work of art from the Crystal Coast of North Carolina, where craftsmanship still means something. Shearline boats are quietly known among serious boaters for their stunning lines, soft ride, and rich mahogany accents that give every cockpit and helm a touch of classic style. But outside of that tight-knit world, few have even heard the name. That's what makes the 23 and 24 center consoles so compelling. They don't chase attention, they earn quiet respect from those who know what they're looking at. These hulls are built using cold-molded marine plywood, typically Oku May or Douglas fir, encapsulated in epoxy and glass. The result? A structure that combines the strength of fiberglass with the warm, vibration-dampening feel of wood. If you've spent decades in louder, sharper riding boats, this is where things go quiet in the best way. The layout is dialed in. Flush deck, wide walkways, an elevated casting platform forward, and flexible seating that adapts to how you boat. Whether you're easing through tidal creeks or relaxing inshore with friends, this boat never overwhelms. It just works. For men over 60, Shearline offers something few builders even attempt, a true blend of old-world craftsmanship and modern performance in a size that feels thoughtful, not excessive. It's not about systems or screens. It's about connection to the water, to the hull, and to the experience. North Coast 230cc is one of those boats you rarely see in glossy magazines, but ask any salty New England fisherman, and they'll tell you this thing is a sleeper. Designed and built in Rhode Island, the 230cc is all about getting the job done without fanfare. But make no mistake, for men over 60, this is a boat that makes more sense the longer you look at it. It's built tough, with a solid fiberglass hull and a foam-filled stringer grid that gives it a tight, unshakable feel underfoot. The ride? Deceptively good. Up front, the sharp bow entry cuts through chop with ease, but it transitions to a flatter 10-degree dead rise at the transom, which gives it an unusual gift for this class: stability at rest. If you've got aging knees or a stiff back, not having the boat roll while you're drifting or fishing makes a world of difference. The layout is clean, wide, and easy to move around, especially for solo days or when bringing along friends who don't bounce like they used to. The helm is straightforward, not over-designed. Everything feels right where it should be, without trying to impress you. And it has legs. With a 124-gallon fuel tank, the 230cc can go further than most boats in its class without needing a top-off. Whether you're chasing stripers off Montauk or just enjoying a long cruise with nowhere to be, this boat quietly proves itself over and over. For older captains who value confidence without clutter, the North Coast 230cc delivers utility in a way that feels earned, not advertised. Albury Brothers 27B is what happens when you take Bahamian roots, a 60-year heritage, and a refusal to mass produce, and pour it into one of the softest, most under-the-radar rides on the water. Hand-built in Riviera Beach, Florida, the 27B isn't marketed with flash, but among experienced captains, it's quietly revered. The B stands for bracket, which means the engines sit on an Armstrong bracket behind the boat, freeing up the cockpit with a full-height transom. The result? A more spacious feel, safer rear deck, and smart use of every inch, perfect for men who appreciate simplicity done right. What sets the 27B apart is its hull. Unlike hard-edged flats boats that slap the water, the Albury uses a modified V with rounded bilges, letting it ease into waves instead of fighting them. That's why there's no pounding, no creaking, and no vibration, just a stable, quiet ride that feels almost therapeutic. For older boaters tired of bracing against every ripple, this hull glides like a second skin. The layout is clean and purpose-built. Open walkways, intuitive helm, forward seating without clutter. It doesn't try to be everything, it just does exactly what it's supposed to, effortlessly. And the craftsmanship? It's yacht level without the yacht attitude. If you've spent years running boats that always drew attention, the 27B offers something different. A hull that lets you focus on the water, not the boat. At first glance, the intrepid 327 center console might look like a sleek cocktail cruiser, the kind of boat you'd see hanging off the back of a super yacht. And that's exactly why it's underrated. Most boaters think of intrepids as luxury tenders. What they miss is that under all that polish lies one of the most capable, best-riding center consoles in the 30-foot class. Built in Florida with semi-custom attention to detail, the 327 rides on Intrepid's famous single-step hull, designed not just for speed, but for efficiency, tracking, and comfort at any pace. This isn't a boat that skips or slaps in chop, it stays glued. Whether you're running fast or slow, the hull just feels right. But the real gift for men over 60 is the layout. The 327 was one of the first boats in its class to feature a hull-side dive door, a swing-in door that lets you step in from the dock or the water without climbing over the gunnel. For knees, backs, and balance, it's a game changer. Deep walkways, real forward seating, a usable head, and an ergonomic helm complete the picture. And because the 327 is no longer in production, it's become something of a collector's gem. You can't order one new, you have to find one used. But that's part of the appeal. These boats hold value like few others, and the right one is worth the search. For those who want refinement, ride, and respect from serious boaters, not just yacht owners, the 327 quietly proves it's more than just a pretty hull. The Jupiter 30FS is one of those boats that gets overlooked, not because it lacks quality, but because it lives in the shadow of Jupiter's bigger builds, and that's exactly why it's underrated. This 30-footer delivers much of the same ride, layout, and luxury as its larger siblings, just in a tighter, more manageable package that makes total sense for seasoned boaters. Built in Florida by a company known for over-engineering everything, the 30 runs on what Jupiter calls its posi stern pad hull. It combines a sharp entry for slicing through chop with a flat pad at the transom that lifts the stern onto plane without bow rise. That means as soon as you throttle up, the boat stays level, giving you an unobstructed view forward. For older captains, that's more than just comfort, it's a serious safety edge. The deck layout is designed with thought, not flash. Wide walkways, deep seating with real support, and a helm setup that feels made for grown-ups, not gadget demos. The console even houses a proper head, clean, usable, and easy to access. You won't find gimmicks here, just oversized hardware, durable rigging, and a boat that can quietly chase tuna on Saturday and cruise the ICW on Sunday. And because buyers often stretch to the Jupiter 32 or 34, this 30-footer is sometimes overlooked in the resale market, which makes it a smart find for the right buyer. The 30FS is what happens when a high-end builder scales things down, adds restraint, and still gets everything right. The Calcutta 263 doesn't look like most offshore center consoles. It's boxier, flatter, and leans more Carolina in style than the sharp-nosed South Florida look. And that's exactly why it's often overlooked. But for seasoned captains, especially men over 60, this 26-footer quietly solves problems they didn't even know could be fixed. Built in Palmetto, Florida, the 263 is a semi-catamaran, meaning it rides on twin hulls but tracks and handles more like a mono. That design gives it incredible stability at rest, tons of interior space, and a smooth, level ride in mixed chop. You don't have to trim it constantly. You don't have to brace your knees when someone walks around. It just stays planted. One of its standout features is the Seagate transom, a center section that slides vertically between the engines, creating a flat bridge from the water or dock into the cockpit. No climbing over the side, no reaching or twisting. For men with knee or hip issues, this is more than convenience, it's independence. Despite being just 26 feet, the 263 feels much bigger. The wide beam, open cockpit, and simple layout give you the sense of a 30-footer without the handling headaches. It's easy to dock, economical to run, and can be stored or towed without specialized gear. While the 263 has fans from the Chesapeake to the Carolinas, its strongest following is on the Florida Gulf Coast, where shallow water meets long runs. Ask any owner, and you'll hear the same thing: it's the most usable boat they've ever had. Calcutta doesn't build for flash, they build for function. And in a world full of loud fiberglass and carbon hype, the 263 quietly keeps doing its job better than most. You won't see many Phenom 37s at the fuel dock, not because they're rare, but because their owners tend to stay offshore a little longer. Born from the vision of Tommy Hancock, co-founder of Sea Pro and founder of Sportsman Boats, the 37 is his family's new masterpiece, a luxury-class center console built to go toe-to-toe with the biggest names in the custom world. Phenom may be a new brand, but it didn't start from scratch. It draws on decades of production experience, then dials everything up: fit, finish, ride, and refinement. The hull runs on a double-step design that lifts without the twitchiness, giving it both speed and stability in real offshore conditions. But here's where it becomes a game-changer for men over 60: comfort tech. Most Phenom 37s come standard with a Seakeeper gyro, which flattens roll at rest and underway. That means no more bracing at the dock, no more fighting drift in the troughs, and no more sore backs by the time you anchor up. And if you want less pitch as well as roll, consider adding a Seakeeper ride to the mix. Add in an air-conditioned helm, and you've got a platform that turns offshore runs into something you actually look forward to. The layout is clean and luxurious without losing function. A triple-wide helm seat, thoughtful rigging access, and smart fishbox placement all show the builder's roots. But the feel, the silence, the balance, the ease, that's what makes it special. The Phenom 37 is still off most people's radar, but for older boaters looking for a big water performer that doesn't punish your body, it quietly checks every box. The invincible 36 Open Fisherman is known in tight tournament circles, but to the broader boating crowd, it often gets overshadowed not by its size but by the rise of Invincible's own catamarans. And that's a miss, because the 36 remains one of the most balanced, capable offshore platforms you can still run yourself without needing a crew. Designed by Michael Peters and built in Florida, the 36 rides on his patented stepped V ventilated tunnel (SVVT) hull, a design that combines the speed and efficiency of steps with the tracking and control that older captains demand. It doesn't drift off course. It doesn't get loose in a following sea. It carves, it bites, it stays planted. But here's what makes it a standout for men over 60, the single-level deck. From bow to stern, there are zero elevation changes, no step-ups to the casting deck, no little ledges to trip over in the heat of the moment. As vision, balance, and agility are considerations, that kind of flush layout becomes more than convenient, it becomes essential. The layout is wide open, the cockpit feels enormous, and while the boat is often described as trailerable, the reality is that its 10-foot beam requires wide load permits in most states. For most solo owners, this is a boat best rack stored or kept at the dock, not trailered behind a pickup. Everything else about the 36 is overbuilt, like the hardware, the rigging, and the hull layup. And because the market is chasing cats right now, the 36 monohull is quietly one of the best values on the used market. For serious boaters who've done the small boats, the wet boats, and the tricky decks, the 36 Open is what confidence looks like. The Sea Hunter 35 Tournament isn't a boat you buy to turn heads at the dock, it's the one you buy when you're done compromising. With an 11-foot 6-inch beam, a stepped deep V hull, and Kevlar-infused construction, this is one of the most planted, capable offshore hulls you can still run solo. The stepped design introduces air beneath the hull to reduce drag, giving you better fuel economy and faster cruise speeds, a real asset when weather turns or distance matters. But the ride isn't just quick, it's solid. That extra wide beam gives it unmatched stability, both underway and at rest. For older captains, it's the difference between bracing your knees or just standing comfortably as the boat drifts. The layout is wide open, clean decks, walkable sides, and a console that keeps sightlines clear without cluttering the helm. Most boats are rigged by owners who know exactly what they want, real-world fishability, not showroom fluff. And because it's built with Kevlar and carbon fiber, it doesn't just feel solid, it is solid. The same materials used in ballistic armor are laminated into the hull, creating a level of security that goes beyond confidence. It's peace of mind. The 35 often gets overlooked because buyers jump straight to Sea Hunters 39 or 45. But for men over 60, this is the one that hits the sweet spot. Big enough to go anywhere, stable enough to make it enjoyable, tough enough to make it last.